plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Serving overseas was just the beginning. We might be home from war, but our mission continues in communities all across the country. It's why we're out there in times of peace and crisis, providing meals to the hungry and supplies to the sick. It's why we're giving strength to those who are too weak and bringing resources to those without them. Service doesn't stop when we're done serving. It's what makes us the VFW. Learn more at vfw.org.
All right, boys, we're good.
Kansas City's hometown sports station, Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. You're listening to the most powerful sports station in the country. Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Traylor. My partner, Kirk Elliott, sitting next to me. We've got Blake back at Sports Radio 810 WHB, turning the dials. Austin and Todd here at Racing Boys HQ, helping us with the show. Man, we've got a lot to get in today, folks. As most of you know, we've been doing our show weekly called Mostly Motorsports, Monday through Friday. You can listen to it at 12 noon Central Time. And we've had a lot of guests on this week, and we're going to play a good portion of the guest. Now, these are just small sections of these interviews. If you want to listen to the full-length interview, you need to go back to wherever you find your favorite podcast, and you can listen to the interviews in their entirety. But, man, we've got a lot going on today. We've got Steve Post, David Gravel, Pat Sullivan talking about KO, Kevin Olson, who passed away last weekend, Rob Klepper, Dylan Westbrook, and regional driver Wesley Smith, who was involved in a pretty serious accident, Kirk, down at Bubba here a couple nights ago, and is chosen to come home. But we thought we'd check in with him and see how he was doing after that accident. That was we never did really get to see the wreck because they didn't have video of it, but it was serious enough that they had to take Wesley to the hospital and have him checked out.
Yeah, he slapped the wall pretty hard on the back straightaway and went to flipping down there, but it destroyed the race car. So they're coming home and get ready for a big season with the Midwest Wingless Racing Association. I think they're going to be running some other stuff as well. That Extreme Outlaw Series, going to run that. So, I'm glad Wesley's okay. But how about that flip that Robert Baloo took last night?
That was a nasty one. Hop
we'll
that wheel.
That. Yeah,
hop that wheel down there at Bubba Raceway Park. You know, I didn't realize it, Kirk, that if you haven't started the feature, you could break out your backup car. Did you notice that?
I did not know that.
Robert hopped out of his car, ran across the track.
He was on a dead run.
To get his backup car out, and he brought it out for the B-Main. He took a provisional, started dead last, only to get in another wreck.
But not as bad as the one in the B-Main.
Not as bad as the one in the B-Main, but he hopped that wheel going down the back straightaway. I bet he flipped probably 7-8 times.
Yeah,
probably.
it was
Something
a pretty
like
wild
that.
ride. So Robert had a pretty rough night last night,
Yeah,
but a
not
good
good.
night for Justin Grant,
right?
Who has been on fire. He won those 2 midget races last weekend at Bubba, and now he's won a sprint car race and looked pretty solid doing it last night. That race didn't get over till 1:30 local time this morning because they had a rain delay.
Yeah.
So it was 12:30 our time. You and I both stayed up last night to watch that.
Did you think Buddy Kofoid was going to catch him there at the end? I
didn't. I didn't think so.
Every time Justin Grant had that restart, he would just gap him.
Yeah.
Every time. It didn't matter. Well, how many times did they restart last night? Probably 3 or 4 times, probably?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, and every time Justin Grant was able to get away from Buddy Kofoid and Jade Avedisian had a nice run last night as well.
She's been doing really good.
She's doing good.
She got the highest compliment from Justin Grant after that midget race last weekend at Bubba.
Yeah.
Where she said, she is going to be the first lady to win one of these races. I guarantee it.
Well, I believe that too. But let me tell you something. I think he went a little far out of his way to give her that compliment. Don't you think a little bit? Didn't he kind of...
Well, he said, I'm usually
stretch that compliment out pretty long.
He said that I'm usually pretty good on restarts, but she made it really tough on me there and really had to work to get around her. And she still ended up in third place, which was pretty good.
I'm not saying that Jade isn't a great driver, because she is. She's a very talented driver. But I just think that Justin went a little far with this compliment. Yeah. He stretched it out a little bit too long for me.
But I think he meant it.
No, I think he did too. And I do think she's going to win a race this year.
She won that $20,000 over at Sweet Springs here a couple of years ago. Yeah. That impressed me. Yeah. So she's
you outrun somebody like Emerson Axum, who finished right behind her. You're doing a pretty good job right there. Mitchell Moles, Tanner Thorson. These are some of the great drivers that finished behind her last night. She can
battle with the best of them.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it. So, anyway, it's a lot of racing to talk about. East Bay Raceway, night 2 of the 360 King of the 360s at East Bay Raceway Park last night. Mark Smith won on Thursday night. Last night, it was Aaron Reisz.
The heel.
That's a good nickname for him.
He is the heel. There's no doubt he's the heel. To me, to be honest with you, I was a little surprised to see Aaron Reisz run a 360. To be honest with you, I mean, I thought he was past that, right? I thought he's moved on to 410s. He wants to be a 410 guy. I just figured that he would end up just running 410s and not any 360s. But you got to
go for everything he can get.
You got to make a living, right?
That's right.
Right. So he was down there.
There's no 410 racing going on this weekend.
Right. No doubt.
Otherwise, that's where he would be.
Yeah.
But I think they locked in the top 6 in points for tonight's race. Mark Smith, the high point leader, Sam Haperteep Jr., Ryan Smith, Reitzell, Dylan Westbrook, and Terry McCarl are the top 6 in points, and I believe those 6 drivers are locked in for tonight's
show. I'm a little
show.
Disappointed in Sam's ability to work his way to the front. I look at Sam and all his championships he's won with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. I just always assumed that he's just going to run to the front, and he hasn't been able to do it here the last couple nights.
And I thought he had the fastest car. You look at Thursday night, he came from the back of the pack to win his heat race and looked pretty strong doing it. Got himself a front row starting spot for the main event, but then slipped back. He slipped back and then worked his way back to the front and was able to get up into the top 3. But I was shocked by that, because starting on the front row, you'd think, as strong as he was running that heat race, he'd just run away and hide. But that isn't what happened.
Mark Smith is really good down there.
He knows how to get around that racetrack, doesn't he?
And he's not even driving his own car. He's driving somebody else's car down there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but he just knows the way around there.
Yeah. So Mark Smith is the current point leader down there of King of the 360 week. Sam is second. Ryan Smith is third. Aaron Reitzell fourth. Dylan Westbrook is fifth, and we'll hear from him a little bit later in the show as well. Dennis Erb Jr. picked up the win last night at Volusia Kirk with the late models.
Yeah, I thought Brandon Shepard was going to win that race. I mean, he was really making it work on the top side, but then he faded. Yeah. And the top side wasn't the way to get around that racetrack, and so Dennis Erb Jr. was able to grab full control of that thing and
beat Chase Youngins to the line.
Chase Youngins ended up pretty strong there at the end, didn't he?
Yeah, he looked good, and Darrell Lanigan, he's looking pretty good. But I was a little surprised, like you, to see Brandon Shepard fall back to all the way to fourth.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like that high side was really working for him early in the race, but then it went away. But yeah, he did end up fourth place. Dale McDowell, who won on Thursday night, ends up in fifth place, followed by Chris Madden, Tyler Bruning, Hudson O'Neill, Shane Clanton, And Devin Moran, surprisingly, a 10th place finish last night. Usually we're used to seeing him in the top 5, but he ends up 10th last night.
Yeah, what did he run? Second the night before, I believe it was, right? Yeah. So in the fast qualifiers last night in Group 1, or Group A, I should say, was Darrell Lanigan. And in Group 2, Brandon Overton was the fast qualifier last night.
And the big block modifieds are running down there. Max McLaughlin winning the feature event last night over Jimmy Phelps and Matt Williamson, who won on Thursday night. So big blocks going at it, and they'll do it again tonight down at Volusia.
Emerson Axum picked up his first USAC victory.
USAC sprint car victory. He's won some midget races,
right.
But he hadn't run that many sprint car races, has he?
No, he hasn't.
We haven't seen Emerson Axum in a non-wing sprint car all that much, but he was able to take advantage of that rubber down racetrack on Thursday night and hang on to the lead and win there.
That was a little disappointing to see the rubber lay down like it did. It was almost like a pavement track. Yeah.
No worries about that last night.
No, it was good last night. It was really good last night, yeah.
So anyway, we'll finish up. And you've been watching some of this pavement racing down at New Smyrna here.
I have been. You know, I'm a pavement guy. Everybody knows it. I love the pavement, and we watched it last night.
Matt Hirschman.
He's
been on fire.
I think he's won 4 in a row down there, if I'm not mistaken.
Last night it was the Richie Evans Memorial Race in the tour-type modifieds.
Yep. Good stuff, man. I love watching the pavement racing just as much as I love watching anything. So we want to play a quick interview that we did with Wesley Smith. He was driving home, and we thought we'd check in with him to make sure he was doing okay. And this is the conversation I had with Wesley Smith. What was it? Was it yesterday or yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep, Friday.
It was Friday, wasn't it? This conversation I had with Wesley Smith as he was driving home after his accident on Thursday night. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been better, but I'm doing pretty good.
Well, we were concerned about you last night. You know, they didn't put the camera on the car over there too long. You know, I'm totally against that, leaving a camera on a car when somebody's injured.
Yeah. I totally understand that.
Yeah, tell us what happened last night because they didn't have a good replay of it. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, the track was kind of starting to take rubber on the bottom, and I was kind of making some headway about a groove out of it, but right before it was really locking down, so I was trying to get a few more cars before I tucked in the line. I think I probably could have got up to about 10th or so before I tucked in the line, and I tried to get one too many going down the back stretch, and that wall it sneaks up on you anyway down there at Bubba, and I kind of just climbed it and went end over end, and the only reason they really had to help me out of the car was where my receiver was on my chest, and it really bruised it pretty good when I landed. I landed on the front of the car, and it just bruised me really good, and I couldn't put weight on my arms to lift myself out without being in just a lot of pain. So they just kind of had to help me out, and I think if I could have gotten out of the car myself without help, I probably wouldn't have had to go to the hospital or anything, but it was just a precaution.
What did they say when you got to the hospital? Did they give you any reason why your arms were so,
It was just bruised. I just had a bruised chest and from where my receiver was, and
that's it.
It's just I just got to be careful with lifting stuff and putting weight on both my arms at the same time because all that weight just kind of culminates right in the center of your chest sometimes. I just got to be careful with that.
Yeah. Well, I've injured my chest before. I've had a couple wrecks in my day. I raced at I-70. I raced at I-70 Speedway, so you're going to wreck when you race there.
Man.
Yeah. What'd you think of I-70 Speedway when you were there?
I thought it was a blast, it was pretty cool being a brand new track and nobody really had laps on it yet.
Yeah.
They said they cut it down from its original length, but I think you can still kind of see where the old track was, and they didn't cut it down much. It's still just as fast as ever, and the back stretch, you kind of 1 and 2 doesn't really have any banking, but you're almost flat out going through there, and then the whole back stretch and into 3, you're just climbing uphill. It seems like because of all the banking and the height of the track, and then 4 just kind of shuffles you down into this narrow little front straightaway, and you're the fastest part of the track because it's all it's the highest banked part of the track, and it's already going kind of downhill, and it was an experience for sure.
Yeah. Man, what a year you had last year. Unbelievable. I mean, the amount of wins, what was it, 11 wins, I think?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. And
and we won all the races we wanted to win. We won the Hill Memorial for the third year in a row.
Right.
Won the War King of Kansas City and the Valley King of Kansas City. Won Border Wars with the 2 USAC. Won the Hocket, yeah. We had a phenomenal year.
Yeah. What would you contribute all that success to last year? I know, obviously, you have the talent as a driver, right? But, you're kind of in a unique situation where you have your own car and you have the Helm car. Well, just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we won 6 times in John's car, and we won 5 times in the family-owned car. And it's just kind of we pick and choose which track we take which car to. It's one of those deals where we know where John's car works really well, so there's no reason to take our car, and we know where there's going to be a lot of competition. We might take our car, and the whole deal is just kind of not to wear either one out. We want to have 2 strong cars all year, and it really just helps keep the wear and tear down on the equipment. But as far as the speed we had last year, things just clicked. A lot of time spent in the shop, being very diligent with the cars and the prep, and making sure we had everything in order. Winning our first time out in the sprint car last year at Lake Ozark was a big confidence booster. And then the second night, even though Mario got us on a late race restart, we still were in contention to win. And then, third race, we won at Lucas, and we've never won there before. And then I think 2 months into the season, our worst finish was 6th, so it's just a lot of confidence building in the team running so well.
And there you have it. That's Wesley Smith talking about his accident down there at Bubba Raceway Park. It was good to see that he was okay after that accident.
Yeah, we went to bed on Thursday night, really worried about how he was doing, because we knew he'd been taken to the hospital, and there was no report about that, and I went online to see if I could find something there, but we didn't know till the next morning that he was okay. So happy to hear that news, because they weren't saying anything during the races.
I think better safe than sorry, him taking the rest of the week off, too.
Yeah.
By the way.
Well, not only that, they just didn't have a car. I mean...
No, he had a chance to drive somebody else's car.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
So he did.
But he didn't think that was probably a good idea.
Yeah, so come home, regroup, and get ready for a big season coming up. That was the smart play, no doubt about it. Anyway, it was good to see Wesley all right. It's good to see Robert Baloo was okay after that wild ride he took last night.
Yeah, for sure. We'll probably get a hold of Robert this week on Mostly Motorsports to talk to him about that ride. He's a regular on Mostly Motorsports, so we'll be talking about that. Kirk, they had qualifying last night for NHRA. Right.
Yes, the Winter Nationals opens the 2022 season at Auto Club Raceway out in Pomona, California. And Robert Height looks strong. John Force Racing looks strong, even though John Force himself didn't have a good run last night when the car got over into the center line and took out a couple of cones, so he wasn't able to get a run. So he's not yet in the show, but Robert Height looks very strong right now. And so does Matt Hagan, who is now driving for Tony Stewart.
Right.
Tony Stewart was there last night watching over his team, his new bride, Leah Pruitt. Wasn't able to make a run down the racetrack either, but Matt Hagan did, and he looks strong. But Robert Height is the number 1 qualifier in Funny Car, and Justin Ashley is number 1 in Top Fuel after one qualifying round. Erica Enders, a 4-time Pro Stock champion, set the pace in the Pro Stock division. So
John Force has not qualified yet. He's 17th. They only take 16 in qualifying.
But he'll get in. He's got a strong enough race car. But I thought
Bob Tasca, the third, is the other driver, hasn't qualified as well.
I thought Force Racing came out pretty strong last night with the way Robert Height ran, and Brittany Force herself had a pretty good run in Top Fuel last night. But that Top Fuel class, Scott, is going to be pretty stellar this year. Tony Schumacher, the 8-time champion, is back full-time this year, and it was good to see him back out on the racetrack last night.
Yeah. We'll be covering quite a bit of drag racing. We've made contact with NHRA, and they're going to get us some guests, aren't they, Kurt?
They are.
Yeah.
So we're gonna look forward to that. Did you see that truck race last night?
I did. What'd you think of it?
It was not surprising the way it ended up. You knew guys were going to try to
come
go
on now,
for it.
Kurt.
It wasn't surprising at all the way that
Hold
ended
on a
up.
second. I got to ask you, were you pleasantly surprised that they didn't crash the whole race?
Yeah.
They didn't really have a lot of wrecks during the race. They had some tires blow out, whatnot, some guys get in the wall, but there wasn't any massive pileups during the race.
But you knew it was going to come before the end of that race.
Well, it always happens, right?
Zane Smith.
But it didn't happen until we got down to the last couple laps.
It did. And, yeah, I'm kind of surprised we didn't see wrecks early in the race.
Mm-hmm.
That's typically what we see in the truck race at Daytona. But Zane Smith, he almost got it won the first time they threw the yellow flag.
Right.
They threw the white flag, but they didn't cross the start-finish line.
Did you see how close
so
it was? When they showed that camera at the start-finish line shooting across, the light came on like 2 feet before he touched the white line. It was crazy.
So Zane Smith didn't like that at the time, but he was happy about it when it was all over with.
When it was all said and done, he was good.
When they did it again, he was able to hang on to the victory. But he got a big push from Parker Kligerman right there, helped him out.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see what the ARCA and Xfinity races are like.
Well, hold on. The
today.
ARCA race is the biggest crash race of the week.
Yeah.
Usually.
We'll see plenty of those today.
Lack of experience in driving fast. There's going to be some action today.
Yeah.
That's today, right?
This afternoon at 12:30 Central Time is the ARCA race, and then the Xfinity race, I think, starts about 4 o'clock Central Time. Lee Spencer is down there. She'll check in here in just a little bit and give us an update on everything that's going on.
Right. Daytona's going to be on Sports Radio 810 tomorrow, right? Starting at 1:30?
That's it.
Right.
Green flag, 1:30. You can hear it live here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
On the big station.
Yeah, I have no idea what kind of a race we're going to see, and to try to predict a winner, your guess is as good as mine. I have no clue.
I'll predict a big wreck.
I think it's going to be a Ford win, don't you? You think it's going to be a Ford?
I'm not sure yet, Kurt, to be honest with you. You know, the Fords are fast, but racing and running fast with the car is one thing. But, you know, there's certain drivers that know how to race in a pack, and those are the guys that usually have the advantage at the end of the race. And if you have a car that's got some decent speed in it, you can win this race. I will not be surprised to see somebody that's never won the Daytona 500.
It happened last year.
It happens all the time.
Michael McDowell won that race a year ago, and it looked like it was going to be Brad Keselowski and the Penske cars.
Who was the guy that you thought was going to be the big star after he won the last?
Trevor Bayne.
Trevor Bayne.
He won in the Woods Brothers car.
He's an analyst now, Kurt.
In 2011.
He's a racing analyst now. He's not even driving.
I quit hyping up drivers. I quit that.
Another one that he thought was going to be great, Austin, was Reed Sorensen.
I did.
He thought he was going to be just a star.
When he won that Xfinity,
Trevor Bayne, he thought was going to be a star.
Well, at least he has hope for the back markers.
Right.
Someone has to.
Somebody's got to root for those
when
guys.
Reed Sorensen won that Xfinity Series race at Gateway, I was over there to see that. I was impressed with the guy, so what can I tell you?
Yeah.
Didn't pan out.
It was an Xfinity race, Kurt. It wasn't a Cup race.
It was an Xfinity race,
right?
But, you know, it didn't pan out for him.
You might be the jinx of those drivers.
That's why I quit hyping up drivers. I quit that long time ago.
Don't talk about me, please.
Right. Don't talk about Austin doing good this
I will
year.
say that you talked up Kyle Larson back when nobody else knew he would even run in NASCAR.
I've known him since he was 15 years old, right?
So you're much better at it than I am, but you're a driver, so you see things more than I do.
I don't know about all that. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to run some sound from David Gravel that we did this week on Mostly Motorsports. Again, you can listen to Mostly Motorsports Monday through Friday at 12 noon. You can watch it on our Facebook page. You can watch it on Twitter. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on racingboys.com. But soon as the broadcast is over, we pull those down off of social media, and then you can find it wherever you find your favorite podcast. And folks, let me tell you, we're averaging about 30 states, 3 countries. People people from around the country are tuning in and watching the show, and we sure appreciate everybody that does that. We never dreamed in a million years that we'd get as many downloads as we're getting right now. So thank you for the people that are tuning in every day on Mostly Motorsports. Again, Monday through Friday, 12 noon Central Time. You can watch it on our Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, racingboys.com, and then you can find it wherever you find your favorite podcast after that. All right, we're going to take a break. Today's Track Talk is brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. We'll be back with more in a moment. Stay tuned here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Track Talk.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas fuel treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system. Pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
Hey Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect. Our pledge to drive down vehicle pricing for the city we love. The Start Something New sales event kicks off 2022, and interest rates remain close to all-time lows, plus trade values are bringing more than ever. It's a great time to buy. We know it's hard to find a replacement, but did you know if you custom order a new vehicle at Victory, you get to play best ball with the factory incentives? That's right, get an accurate upfront price quote when you order today, and if the rebates are better when the vehicle arrives, the extra savings goes right in your pocket. It's a simple process, and we can show you how easy it is to customize a new vehicle and have it shipped directly to you, complete with your name personalized on the window sticker. And don't forget, if you have a trade, we buy your car at top dollar regardless of if you purchase a new vehicle from us or not. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey.
And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reisz Chevrolet, St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reisz Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Stephen St. John for Window Nation. Do you know why I'm glad home shows are at this time of year? Because brutally cold weather really shows you where your home needs improvement, especially your windows. Do they feel cold? Are they steamy or frosted? Can you feel a draft? You need to call Window Nation, the experts of window replacements. And now is the best time because Window Nation's virtual home show extravaganza brings the limited time savings right to you. Call today and get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy with no limit. Plus, make no down payment, no payments, and pay no interest for 24 months. Window Nation, 866-90-NATION, or go online to windownation.com/home show. Window Nation will come to you with beautiful ways to improve your home and save you thousands of dollars. With natural gas prices skyrocketing, now's the time to call. Buy 2, get 2 free with no limit and pay nothing for 2 full years. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com/home show and tell them Stephen St. John sent you.
It's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Hot Tub Sale. We have hot tubs coming in every week. No need to wait for months. Come get your dream hot tub today. Family Leisure also has pools in stock for spring installation. Don't go another summer without a pool for your family. Come in and see our huge selection of patio furniture. Family Leisure is your one-stop shop for pool tables, shuffleboard, bar stools, and home theater seating. All priced to go. Mention 810 and save more at Family Leisure in Olathe.
913-888-7727. Awesome!
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. Want to thank those guys for believing in us for now 12 years. Lucas Oil Products. Great supporters of the Racing Boys for years and years, and we want to thank them so much for not only investing in Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810, but mostly motorsports during the week as well. Kirk, we had a chance to talk to David Gravel a little bit earlier this week.
He did. He came off leading wire to wire in the Volusia Speedway Park World of Outlaw finale last weekend, holding up that big gator, and he looked very strong. And Scott Traylor spoke with David Gravel on Mostly Motorsports earlier this week, and here is part of that conversation.
And you picked up your second World of Outlaw Big Gator Championship. How'd that feel?
Felt really good. It was a bummer we lost 2 races due to weather, but, we had 3 different racetracks there for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and was able to be in contention each night. So it felt really good to just kind of pick up where we left off last year.
Yeah. The track conditions on night number 1 were a little rugged and a little rough, but it seems like they got it worked out. They kind of scraped off maybe some of that new dirt they laid down. They made a huge improvement during the week, didn't they?
Yeah, the second day they definitely made a massive improvement over night 1, and then night 3, was kind of a nightmare because of the canceled races from the modifieds, and they raced all day long. And the rubber was already down before we even did hot laps. So qualifying and hot laps were rubber down, and we wore the tires right off the thing in 2 laps, and they were able to rework it before the heat races, and then it ended up being a pretty good A-main racetrack. So they definitely made improvements, and I think, the non-wing cars and the late models should have some good services moving forward.
As a team, do you guys go to the World of Outlaws? I mean, they don't need to be told, right? They see the track conditions out there. They understand it's laying down some rubber. But as a team or several of the teams, do you guys go up and talk to the officials and say, hey, listen, what can we do to make this thing a little bit better? Do you get into those conversations with the World of Outlaws?
Yeah, but there's a real disconnect there. The officials really don't have any hold to make stuff happen. It really comes down to the track prep people and whoever owns the facility. We're just the racers, and they're just the officials to make sure that we run by the rules and keep the show flowing. So, sometimes it gets frustrating, but, most of the time they get it right.
Right. We had your car owner, Todd Quering, on here about a week or so ago. Man, it seems like that you're in a great situation with Todd. The resources are there. We know what he can do with those resources. And it seems like to me that if there was ever a time that you could make a run at this championship, it would be this year.
Yeah, I've been able to put some good seasons together with the World of Outlaws, but after last year, being under 100 points away from the points championship was definitely something very positive and shows you that we're pretty close to getting the job done. So we're hoping for year 2 we can make some improvements, and hopefully that will be enough.
I've got to talk about the race that you lost to Sheldon, man. That was a remarkable race, right? I mean, the 3 of you, the last 5 laps are just throwing haymakers at each other. And it looked like you were on your way to victory there, but unfortunately in the last few feet, you lost that race. How disappointing was that race to you that night?
It wasn't too disappointing, to be honest with you. On lap 14, hit the rut wrong and a caution came out, and I broke the right front shock stud off the car. So I only had 3 shocks for the last 16 laps, and when I got to lap traffic and hitting those holes, the car did not like that, and I did a one terrible lap where Brad and Sheldon passed me, and then I was able to put some good laps together, and then coming to the checkered, I just hit the holes wrong, and the right front climbed right out of itself, and I was going towards the wall and had to get it sideways, and once I blew it sideways, I just lost all my momentum and speed and, lost the race. So I just felt like I gave myself a chance to still contend for a win after I fell back to third and came up short. And, we knew we had something good, so in the right circumstances, I know we would get the job done, and luckily, it was only 24 hours later, and we were able to do that.
Right. Well, how difficult is it to manage that car when that right front shock comes off? Because outwardly, looking in at the race, we couldn't tell that, right? It looked like you were still real competitive, and you were right in the middle of it all. But what adjustments do you have to make as a driver when you realize that right front shock comes off?
Yeah, if you go back and watch the video, you'll see after the restart in lap 14, every time you hit a bump or something, the right front is going to be bouncing up and down like 10, 15 times more than the left front. So it's just something that's not like extremely obvious from video, but you can see it after you pay attention. But in clean air and clean traffic and everything, the car handles still very well when you got that air pushing down on the wing. But once you start slowing down and getting in dirty air and getting more weight transferred to the front of the car by getting off the throttle, that's when the car starts handling very illy. So some scenarios it was good, and as you could see, I made some good laps at the end, but they weren't all good, and it just made it harder to make consistently good laps.
Right. You're off for a little bit now. What do you do in between Volusia and the next race that you have coming up here at, where is that? I can't remember where we're going next.
Yeah, we're at the Rev and the Mag or whatever it's called, Magnolia, Mississippi, and then Louisiana. But, try to be somewhat of a normal person. I have my merchandise trailer. I got to drive it home Saturday night after the races and get home at 2 in the morning and do loads of laundry and restock the T-shirt trailer and fulfill my online orders. And I had my race team come down. They're parked at my house, and they're working on the car currently. And, we had a little Super Bowl party last night. So I'm just we got plenty of stuff to catch up around the house, doing the schedule we do. Stuff builds up over the year. And, there's always a laundry list of stuff that I could do at home.
And there you have it. That's David Gravel joining us on Mostly Motorsports. Again, you can listen to that Monday through Friday at 12 noon Central Time. You can watch it on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and racingboys.com. The World of Outlaws will be racing at Magnolia Motor Speedway on February 25th, and then they'll be racing at the Rev February 26th. Then March 4th, they'll be at Cotton Bowl Speedway. So if you're a World of Outlaws fan, there's a few dates that you can go check out.
The World of Outlaws, already into it.
How about that? Yeah.
2022. So, a lot of great racing. It's all coming to an end tonight down in Florida. So get back to a normal schedule after this weekend.
What are you going to watch tonight, Kurt?
First of all, I'll be watching the ARCA race and then the Xfinity race.
That's today, though, right? What time is the ARCA race come on?
I think 12:30 Central Time. Then I think about 4 o'clock is the Xfinity race. Then tonight, watch what's going on up at Bubba Raceway Park. See how things go up there. And the King of the 360s wrap up tonight at East Bay.
I'm going to be watching Volusia, East Bay, New Smyrna. What else tonight?
Volusia, East Bay, Bubba, New Smyrna.
And New Smyrna.
Yeah, and you can watch all of the action at Volusia with the World of Outlaw late models and the Super Dirt Car Series on Dirt Vision. Bubba Raceway Park with the USAC National Sprints and the King of the 360s all on Flow. And Flow also carries the action at the New Smyrna Speedway tonight.
Flow, 1,800 races they're going to have this year.
That's a lot. My gosh. You get your money's worth there.
Kirk, we've been in the broadcasting business. Could you imagine doing 1,800 races in a year?
You got to have a lot of people to pull that off.
Holy cow, man. That's unbelievable. MAV Plus, though, is going to do 150 races.
Yeah.
So they're doing a tremendous amount of volume as well.
I've got subscriptions to all of it.
You and I both, bud.
The
one good thing about it, if people are watching online, they can see that we've got all these TVs around our radio set here. And to be honest with you, we've got them hooked up to computers, and we can watch 4 different streams going at the same time down here. So it's pretty cool.
It is absolutely incredible. But I will say, there's nothing that replaces being at the track.
No, for sure. Yeah, I can't wait to get back to the track. All right. Well, why don't we do this? Lee's going to join us next, right?
Lee Spencer coming up. She is at Daytona as we speak, so she'll give us all the lowdown, everything that's going on down there.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and get into our break, and that way we have a little more time with Lee Spencer. She'll be joining us here in just a minute from Daytona International Speedway. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. Stay tuned for more of Track Talk right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Track Talk.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Jayhawk fans, this is Lance Leipold, head football coach of your Kansas Jayhawks. 2022 season tickets are now on sale and start as low as $185. We need you waving the wheat in David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium this fall. For tickets and more information, visit KUathletics.com or call 800-34-HAWKS. Rock Chalk.
Worried about some serious weather coming this way? KC Weather can wreak havoc on your roof, and small problems can become big problems fast. The Shamrock Roofing team is here to help. Whether you are catching an issue before the storm or need help with damage after, our highly trained Shamrock team is here to help. Call Shamrock Roofing today at 913-850-6556 or shamrockroofer.com, and we will get a member of our team out to help you within 24 hours. Shamrock Roofing, where one call does it all.
So spring is just around the corner, and if you've been having issues with your furnace, now's the best time of the year to replace it. It's Free Furnace Month at Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. When you replace your system, your furnace is free. Don't wait and pay more. Save your money for March Madness and get the ball rolling on your free furnace. Trust me, I trusted Anthony, and I have a new system, and you should too. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Valerie Clark here, future owner of Unlimited RV, a proud family-owned business ever since I can remember. My family started out renting RVs in my driveway in the suburbs of Kansas City when I was just 9 years old. Now, I just graduated high school, and Unlimited RV has become Kansas City's highest-rated RV dealer with an expanding service center, a brand new sales center, and 10 acres of campers to choose from. My family is stoked for the opportunity to exceed your RV sales and service needs as we continue to grow as an Unlimited RV family.
Go to unlimitedrv.com.
Hola, Carla speaking. Carla's roofing company always goes above and beyond.
Yeah, we heard about next week's forecast.
She needs a new foreman to weather a storm of projects.
You mean another full crew before Wednesday? Mira, Jose, can you work Wednesday?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The NASCAR Cup Series.
40 cars come down to the line. They call it the Great American Race.
Season gets underway in Daytona.
Keselowski's in line. Now he turns him. Both Team Penske cars crash. Keselowski is up in a ball of flame.
It's the Great American Race.
It will be a victory by mere inches. McDowell wins.
The Daytona 500.
Tune in for live coverage of the Daytona 500 Sunday on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB and RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. I'm Scott, he's Kirk, we're the Racing Boys, and joining us now on the show from Daytona is Racing Boys' own Lee Spencer. How you doing, Lee?
Oh, I'm super. I've been well fed by Kroger this morning and had breakfast with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and got the inside scoop as far as why he didn't want to draft with other banditos on the racetrack, and so it's it's been an interesting and productive morning.
Oh, give us a little inside skinny on our boy there. What's going on?
I got to tell you, yesterday I ran into a friend of mine who's worked on the GM engines for years, and he told me, I said, "What are you guys going to do against those Fords? They're badass, they're just dominating." And he said, the problem is you can't get Chevrolet guys to commit to one another the way the Fords do. He said the Fords lock bumpers and they stay the course. We can't get our Chevrolet guys to come on board with that philosophy. Well, Stenhouse, I heard two of the drivers, and one was Chastain and the other was Suarez, and I guess they're a two-car team from Trackhouse Racing, and Ricky's a one-car, so you got to be able to at least try to put a four-pack together, right? Because the four-pack, you guys probably saw that in practice yesterday. We certainly saw it in the duels. That seems to be the number right now that works out there. So Stenhouse said that all the Chevrolets are not created equally. They don't draft equally. And he goes, that's why I didn't want to get into a situation with them. He thinks that this is going to be a handling race, which you guys know. Daytona is always a handling race. And he loves the way the car handles. So I think that he just didn't want to put himself in a sketchy situation. Denny Hamlin, he punted the other night. He said he didn't like the energy that was going on in the draft, so he got out of it. Bowman just wanted to save his car because he's starting on the front row. He dropped to the back, but with varying degrees, even these cars are supposed to be close with how they line up. The round bumpers is what Joey Logano said on Media Day. He said it's like rubbing two marbles together. It's not a flat push kind of situation like they're used to. It seems like, you're inches away from adversity every lap of the race.
Yeah. Was there a little bit of surprise when Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher were the two fastest guys in their qualifying races? I don't think anybody saw that coming, that Brad Keselowski was going to be the guy to beat in that qualifier number one.
Look at his record at Talladega. No, he's not he's not in Team Penske equipment anymore. But
right.
When you look at what he's been able to accomplish, think about his very first win. His very first win in a Cup car came with James Finch. I mean, James Finch was a single car. I won't say low budget team because they usually had Hendrick equipment, right?
Right.
It was like one of those one-off satellite deals.
The 09 car. It was the 09 car, right?
Right, but
yeah.
He didn't win his first Cup race in a Team Penske car. It wasn't a Hendrick car. It wasn't a Joe Gibbs Racing car. Mm-hmm. He won with it because that's what you can do at these tracks. Sure, Denny Hamlin is the favorite. He's won 3 times. He knows how to get around. Logano's good on resurgent plates, but you think about guys that just are can go out there and get the job done. I mean, I'm here with Stenhouse this morning. Stenhouse isn't with an alpha team, but could he win on Sunday? Absolutely, sure. He could. And I think at this point it's a matter, who's got the biggest pair and who's willing to mat it all the way around. Because I will tell you, you lift in the slightest with these cars and your butt's going to the back of the field, because if you don't hook up with, if you're not in one of those 4-packs, even if you're the fifth car is just, the fifth car is just really, if he cannot, marry up to the bumper of the fourth car, he's done.
Right. Speaking of the Penske cars, what is the deal with the wheels? They were confiscated. What's going on there?
They had altered the wheels, and if you talk to people in the garage, they give you a different idea as to what's going on than what the defense statement is, kind of from the from the people that got busted. And so I look at it from that standpoint. The people in the garage said it gave them better grip on, the way that they had the air going through the wheels helped give these cars better grip on the racetrack. But, I was the first one to tweet about it. Didn't have time to write a story because NASCAR said, yes, we'll confirm this, but, do know that we're putting out a statement momentarily. And so I put the tweet up really quick. But they had confiscated the wheels yesterday morning. They're taking them back to the R&D Center for further evaluation. And, my inside sources are saying nothing's going to come of it, but we'll see how much the garage bitches and moans, because the garage bitching and moaning is probably how they got busted in the first place, right? Because nothing stays a secret in there, and I think that's how they got caught in the first place.
You think
it wasn't something that was done? It was not something that was discovered in post-race inspection.
Do you think the penalty is going to be severe when they find somebody cheating on some of these stamped out products that the teams are supposed to use? I mean, this wheel is for everybody, the suspension and everything. Do you think there's going to be a really stiff penalty when it comes to cheating on some of these stamped out products?
NASCAR has said as much, and so when it comes down, it's going to be big. It's going to be large. My sources tell me that people have already been busted for trying to manufacture their own parts, because this is kind of the proprietary situation that that these manufacturers have with NASCAR. They pay big bucks to be the sole supplier of this piece or this part, but it's also detrimental to the sport, because if you put all your eggs in one basket and then the chicken's not laying eggs, right? Which is kind of where we're at right now. That there is a supply shortage. Most of these teams have 3 chassis, not 3 cars, 3 chassis, and they're still waiting on parts and pieces to build a 3rd car. I was told that several of these teams, as soon as the duels were over, the backup car that they brought down here for Daytona was, going back to the shops in North Carolina so they could switch out the engines and be ready for California next weekend.
There's a practice session at 10 o'clock this morning. How you doing, Lee? A practice session at 10 o'clock this morning. Are we going to learn anything from this? The conditions are going to be the daytime, much like we're going to see for the race tomorrow. Are we going to learn anything at all from this test session, or are these guys just going to shake it down and get ready for tomorrow? We'll see what happens then.
Well, it's 60 degrees right now. It's overcast. It really depends if it burns off. If it burns off, it's a lot different than it has been. I did hear Eddie DeHaan, who's spotter for Chase Elliott, tell Alan Gustafson over the radio yesterday as Chase was coming off that they had learned something. There was a huge powwow yesterday in the Hendrick garage area, mainly at the 9 car. So I think that they discovered something when they were working in the 4-car draft, because think about it, until the duels, we didn't know what it was going to be like, right, as far as what the complexion of drafting would look like. And this is why I insist on being up in the press box and working up there throughout the course of the week, because you see the evolution of drafting with a particular car, with a particular package for Daytona. And you need to be up there to see how it evolves. Well, clearly 4 cars is what we're looking at as far as what the successful
3 minutes
number is as far as putting that together. And so I think that if Hendrick is comfortable with what they have, they may not even come back out today. I would be surprised. Kurt Busch yesterday was running pit road, just trying to get his timing lights right. People may be doing that, but as far as going out there in big packs and drafting, with the inventory right now, I seriously doubt. I could be wrong, but if it's me, I'm keeping my car in the garage.
Right. Jacques Villeneuve is going to be in the Daytona 500. We've only got a couple minutes left. What does that mean for NASCAR, having him come over there and running?
Well, it's absolutely huge, but I think, to have a 50-year-old guy who's a former Formula One champion and a kart champion and an Indy 500 winner, this is bigger to chalk than it is for NASCAR, right? It gives us an international flair. Yep. We have 2 people from outside of the country racing, in the Great American Race, and I think that, that's awesome because it brings more eyeballs to the sport.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Lee, your prediction. Who do you think is going to win the Daytona 500?
God, I wish I knew, but Keselowski would be a great story, especially after what they did. But, I've got to think it comes out of the Ford camp. But, I just, as far as picking somebody I think, if you've got a sure horse, it's probably Denny.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, Lee, thanks so much. What do you got coming up on Racing Boys quickly?
Denny Hamlin and Stenhouse piece, and about, dealing with the sketchiness that is formerly known as restrictor plate racing.
Right. All right, Lee. Thank you so much. We
Great
appreciate
work,
your time.
Lee.
Thank you. And there you have it, Lee Spencer joining us on the show. Hour number 2, if you're going to follow us on Facebook, we've got some sound from Steve Post, Pat Sullivan, Rob Klepper, Dylan Westbrook. We just had Lee Spencer on. We had Wesley Smith on a little bit earlier in the show from what we did earlier this week.
Are you making a pick for the Daytona 500?
Are you?
Sure, why not? Ryan Blaney. I'm going to pick Ryan Blaney to win.
I'm kind of like Lee. I think Denny Hamlin's the guy to beat.
When he's 4th.
Yeah, he's pretty good at plate racing. If he can keep his head in the game.
He spun out on pit road the other night.
Right.
He can't make mistakes like that.
Can't do that. All right. Again, folks, follow us over there on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or racingboys.com. We've got another hour to go. It'll be uninterrupted, and it's all right here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Want to thank Blake, Austin, Todd, my partner Kirk Elliott, for helping me out here in hour number 1. Hour number 2 coming up. We'll see you here in a moment on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network.
Thanks, Blake.
This is for the men who never settle. The
Thanks,
ones
Blake.
who miss the fairway all day.
Good job, fellas.
and still
Appreciate it, brother.
pull
Have a
out
good
the
weekend,
big
all right?
stick.
Y'all
the
have a
type
good
of
one.
guys
All right.
who will
Thanks,
always
Blake.
prefer to be behind the grill than...
Taking care of your car is a responsibility. It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Spirit Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other ad specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas fuel treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system. Pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works. There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Alumatech Products is the premier aluminum cabinet company as well as custom aluminum trailer manufacturer. They specialize in custom cabinetry and production units. All the cabinets are built in-house by exceptional craftsmen. Alumatech Products also offer truck caps that are built from the ground up, starting with a framework all the way to a complete build. The folks at Alumatech are driven to produce quality, long-lasting products through innovative design to best suit you. For more information, go to alumatechproducts.com.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum, and our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, SprintCarStuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
We not only look to the future, we design it. Our excellence and professionalism in craftsmanship, quality, and safety is unmatched in the industry. We are proud suppliers to some of the most elite race teams in the world. We build it, you drive it. We are here to help you win.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. You know, the funny thing about that is the Larry voice and the Mater voice are exactly the same. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
All right, welcome back to Track Talk. I'm Scott, he's Kirk. Austin and Todd hanging out with us here in the studio. We want to thank Blake back at Sports Radio 810 for hour number 1 for helping us out. We've got a lot going on in hour number 2. We've got sound from Mostly Motorsports this week from Steve Post, Rob Klepper, Dylan Westbrook, who runs second in the 410s with the was that with the All-Stars?
Yeah. How surprised were you about that? I'm a little bit surprised that Dylan had that good of a run with the All-Stars.
No, he's great. He's a great talent, man. He's got really a lot of talent. He'll be a 410 driver before you know it.
But they don't race that much 410. So, I mean, for him to step in there and do what they did the other night.
You say that. That's all Sam does is run 410s now. I mean, he rarely runs a 360 anymore, right? And so whatever Sam's learning out there running the 410, he's helping Dylan with that and applying that to his team when he's out there running with him.
So. Dylan Westbrook has proven to be a really good driver.
He is an excellent driver. I want to give a shout-out to Tim, who's listening up in Iowa City. Also, I want to shout out to Kelly, who is listening from Central Point, Oregon this morning. So we want to thank those folks for tuning in from all over the country, and we want to thank the people that are tuning into Mostly Motorsports again. Pretty surprising on the amount of downloads that we're getting and the amount of states that we're getting and countries. And I want to thank Austin for all of his hard work for doing that show as well, and Todd helping us out as well. Pleasantly surprised is the best I can say about how things are going with Mostly Motorsports. So
it's a good show.
Good numbers.
Not too bad. You know, got a hack that's hosting the show, but other than that, it's not doing too bad.
So what kind of the other night they had these dual races down at Daytona.
Yeah.
And the field got split up and spread out. I don't think we can just take that and think that's the way it's going to be for the 500 tomorrow. Conditions are going to be a lot different. You got a lot more cars out on the racetrack. But are we going to see these cars break up in separate packs?
Kirk likes,
like we did the other night.
Kirk likes using his hands when he gets really animated.
But I mean,
do you ever notice that?
Right. But we really can't take what we saw the other night and those duels and think that's going to translate to what we're going to see tomorrow, do you?
What are you going to say, Austin?
Kirk, I got a job opportunity for you. You want to come run some signal sticks for me this year?
You know, tell him how close they are behind. You ever done that before?
No. Have not.
Move your hands enough.
I can't.
He does.
Hey, Austin, I can't drive the car for you. Okay?
Oh. How about that?
You're on your own, man.
I'll give you some signals if you ever need them there. But no, you know, Kirk, to your point, I think that when you put 40 cars out there on the racetrack, it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I'll predict this. I think we'll see, you know, maybe I shouldn't say that. You know, when you watch a cup race, really, they're the best in the business, right? And those guys know that they have to be there at the end. And I'm going to say it. I'm not sure that the race is going to be a little frickin' boring in the beginning.
A lot of single file.
Well, even if they're too wide, those drivers are not going to push the envelope too early because they know they have to be there at the end.
Right.
It's just kind of like last night in the truck race. They started talking about, we're down to the end of the race. This is when these guys are going to start getting aggressive. But, you know, they still had 25 laps to go. And I don't think you really want to get too aggressive until you get down to the last 10 laps.
But what about the end of these stages where these points are pretty valuable? What about that? You know, when they're going for the stage points.
I get that, but here's the biggest issue that we have going on right now, in my eyes. The biggest issue is they don't have enough parts to fix these cars. And we know that there's a lot of parts that are not available right now to these teams to replace these cars. So I don't think these teams want to go out there and tear up a car right now. And I think the last thing they want to do is tear up a car. I mean, Joey Logano, he had to break out a backup car, right? But they knew that Joey is aggressive in the way that he drives at the plate tracks, and they brought down a backup car for him. Most of the teams that are down there don't even have a backup car with them. Most of their backup cars are up there in the shops getting built right now.
That's crazy when you think about it. You know, in the old cars, you had speedway-only cars. Right. They had different cars for different racetracks. Not that way anymore. These cars are diversified where you can run it on all different kinds of racetracks. Most of those teams only have 3 cars per team, and they've got to think about everything that comes up after Daytona, too. They got to have parts and pieces for what lies ahead. California next week. So I don't know. Yeah, the drivers, I mean, this is the Daytona 500 we're talking about here.
Right.
The drivers aren't going to be so concerned about saving a race car when it comes down and think they got a chance to win.
I disagree with you 100%. I think the teams have told these drivers, listen, don't get us behind the 8 ball. We don't have enough cars. You know, most of these teams have 2 cars right now. How can you operate with 2 cars? How can they?
I don't know how you do that.
How do you do it?
So we're going to see a boring Daytona 500 because of all this.
My prediction will be it's not going to be the most exciting Daytona 500.
No. And these cars are going to get split up into different packs.
Let me ask you this, Kurt.
Single file.
Hold on. Let me ask you this question. How often do you see a good Daytona 500 through the first half of the race? How often do you see that?
It doesn't happen that often.
Not very often.
Why
would this race with a new car be any different, and a lack of parts on top of it? Why would there be any difference between this race and races that we've watched in the past? We've watched too many Daytona 500 races just be a complete snooze fest for the first half of the race.
No doubt about it, especially in recent years.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can see happening is, when you watch these cars when they draft together, the tail end car loses the draft. That's what I'm a little concerned about.
That's
how many cars are going to lose the draft,
right,
and get off the pace and not be able to keep up. I mean, for goodness sakes, we saw it the other night. Kevin Harvick got lapped in the duel.
That's crazy when you think about it.
Just think, Kevin Harvick, a Daytona 500 winner, right?
In the duel race.
60-lap
race.
Right. Off the pace, couldn't keep up, and gets lapped. Just think about that for a second. Kevin Harvick, one of the great plate racers. He's a good one.
I hope I'm wrong, but I'm like you. I kind of fear we're going to see a boring race tomorrow. I hope I'm wrong.
Well, I hope I'm wrong, too.
Really, we don't know what we're going to see.
Well,
the conditions that we're going to see tomorrow, we've not seen yet. And what's going to happen when they wreck some of these race cars? What's the aftermath of that going to be? Also, what are pit stops going to be like? Live green pit stops. We saw some of that the other night, but in race conditions coming down when you got to get a full tank of fuel in, you got to get these cars completely filled with fuel. They'll have the tires changed long before they get the fuel in the car. What's that going to look like?
Well, it's going to look like they're having to wait for the fuel.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to look like. I don't know. I think that they could put 2 cans of fuel in about 12 seconds. I think it is. Something like that. 12, 13 seconds. Do you know, Austin?
Do you know how long the pit stops were in the duel?
How long were the pit stops, Kurt?
About 10 seconds.
I mean, then normally 12 seconds. I mean, you're not.
Of course, they didn't have to pull up. They didn't have to.
It's not
fill
that
it
much
full
difference, really.
But they didn't have to fill it full of fuel either. Those cars.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the difference between a 10-second stop and a 12-second stop? 2 seconds. That's not much.
Yeah. But we did see what that looked like changing those tires.
Right.
That they go on and off pretty quick now.
Who did we want to play first, Austin? Do we know? Who do you want to hear first, Kirk? You want to hear Post?
I want to hear Pat Sullivan.
Sullivan.
Let's do that.
Let's do Pat Sullivan in honor of KO.
I want to talk to you about this. We didn't hear about this news. You called me after the show last week about Kevin Olson got killed in a car wreck.
Yeah.
And it was just shocking.
Drunk driver hit him head on.
I mean, we were just all shocked by that.
Yeah.
And, we saw KO down at the Chili Bowl.
Right.
And, I mean, here's one of the most unique and fun drivers I think we've ever seen.
5-time Badger midget champion. Yeah. 2-time USAC midget champion. Hall of Famer. I mean, the guy's done everything. Wrote books. Hilarious. Just funny as could be.
I mean, here, Kevin Olson, who had done all of these things in racing, and a lot of times dangerous.
Right.
Is out on the highway, he and his wife.
I don't know if it was his wife.
I guess she was in critical condition after this accident. But you just mind your own business driving down the road.
Right, and get head on. Crazy.
And at 70 years old, it's just shocking.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you want to set this up?
Pat Sullivan is a longtime announcer for USAC and a historian of racing, knows KO about as well as anybody. Scott Traylor spoke with Pat Sullivan earlier this week after we heard the sad news of the passing of Kevin Olson.
It's a sad day for a lot of people that were friends with Kevin Olson.
Yeah.
I to be honest with you, I didn't realize that he had such a stellar racing career. Man, he'd done a lot in his career, hadn't he?
Oh, it's really funny. I thought about this almost instantly, which is, how could a guy be a member of a Hall of Fame, the National Midget Racing Hall of Fame, and yet that doesn't seem to be the first thought that comes to your mind when you think about Kevin Olson, because he was such a larger-than-life individual. Kevin Olson was an outstanding racer in so many ways. He was a 5-time Badger Midget champion, and I hasten to say this, and I'm not trying to be condescending, because I know you've got some people who follow the sport for a long time, but I have the greatest admiration for what Quinn McCabe has done to revive Badger, anchored at Angel Park Speedway in Semper. He's done a remarkable job.
Yeah.
But he operates now under a different formula. There was a time when Badger was so tough, it was unbelievable. I mean, you had Danny Borsch, you had Scotty Hatton, you had Kevin Doty, you had Stan Fox, Kevin Cook. On Sundays, the likes of a Jerry Coode Jr. It was so tough.
Yeah.
And it's literally one of the oldest midget organizations in America. He was champion 5 times. He won the Fireman's Nationals 5 times, which is absolutely one of their biggest ever events. He won the Hut 100. I think he was 46 years old when he won it. This was a couple years after Jack Palance had won a Best Supporting Actor award at the Oscars, and I think he was 73. And to demonstrate he was still vibrant, he did 1-arm push-ups. So Kevin won and immediately went and did push-ups in Victory Lane in typical Kevin Olson style. He won the Turkey Night Grand Prix, 2 USAC national championships. You nailed it, Scotty. Kevin Olson was just one terrific racer, and he even won a couple of years ago. He was planning on running at 70 years of age. Remarkable guy.
Yeah, his last win with the Badger Series was in 2019, July 21st, 2019. 47 wins at Angel Park, man. If you win that many races there, you're somebody, right?
Oh, there's just no question about that. And what a unique environment, and what a passionate fan group at Angel Park. Unique racetrack, and has produced so many great legends for so many years. I mean, he was funny, and he was humorous, and he had jokes and tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those tricks came when he put that helmet on. I mean, he was pretty serious about his racecraft, and you ask anybody. I had a little bit of a text exchange with Danny Borsch when I was trying to confirm the news that it was true. And Danny Borsch will tell you, I mean, he was tough as nails in midget racing and passionate about it. And a place that just loves it. It's the place that I think you have perhaps as a devoted fans of that discipline as anywhere in the nation.
You know, it shows you how steady he was in his career. He won his first Badger championship in 1976. He won his last championship in 97. And they sprinkled over the years. He won in 87, 88, 89. He popped off 3 in a row. But to win it in 76 and then come back and win it in 97, that says a lot about you as a driver, not only consistency-wise, but it just says that his skill set never really diminished that much.
Yeah, let me tell you an added story about that last championship. Obviously, the Indy Racing League had been launched amid a great deal of controversy, fanfare, you name it. And the folks at the Speedway, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, were very interested in trying to create or reconnect the bond between the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and short track, particularly open wheel racing. They were very committed to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually was in the middle of this. So they contacted me, and they wanted to have an event that was called Champions Day. And we invited open wheel champions, really from organizations big and small, to come to Indianapolis Motor Speedway during a practice day. They would have meetings, or Rick Mears came by and gave a talk, and Johnny Rutherford, and they were interviewed on the public address. And we with the drivers who brought their cars, we had a special area behind the museum. For those who've never been to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's inside the racetrack. We had a little special area at the back where we staged all the race cars of the champions for those who brought it, and Kevin brought his car. But now, in typical Kevin Olson fashion, he decided that it was the best possible place for him to do a publicity photo shoot for his midget. So Kevin goes out and he recruits about 3 women who I think names were Betty, Deborah, and Carol during the day, but were Summers, Mercedes, and Montana in the evening, if you're catching my drift.
I got you. Yeah.
And he decides to have a photo shoot. Yes. He decided to have a photo shoot with them in their evening attire. And I went up and said, Olson, thank you for being a part of the first and last ever Champions Day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Right.
But again, is that true? Absolutely not, because Tony George hired him to be a part of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway radio network. So that tells you just about Kevin Olson. He could get away with about anything.
All right, there's a great story about Kevin Olson, who lost his life in a tragic auto accident last Friday. I was told that a drunk driver hit him head on.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's terrible.
There will never be anybody in the world ever again or even before like Kevin Olson.
He was very unique, to say the least.
Yeah, when he was down there at the Chili Bowl and had the bare arms and the open face helmet down there that time.
T-shirt, open face helmet with the bandana around his face. But, back then, when he did that, Kirk, the rules stated that a fire suit was optional.
Yeah.
And that's why he did that. The next year, fire suits were mandatory.
He got away with it that time because it wasn't in the rules.
It wasn't in the rules. Right, exactly. Yeah.
But only Kevin Olson would do something, or would even attempt to do something like that.
Right, for sure. All right. Another interview that we did this week is with the voice of the World of Outlaws Extreme Non-Wing Sprint Car Series, Rob Klepper, a good friend of the Racing Boys. He used to do some work for us back in the day.
He was. He's a great announcer, and when he teamed up with Johnny Gibson the other night on that Extreme Outlaw Series, the first 2 nights,
man.
That was about as good as it gets. And Rob Klepper spoke with Scott Traylor on Mostly Motorsports earlier this week and talked about his new gig with the new Extreme Outlaw Series.
Longtime friend of the Racing Boys, Rob Klepper. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing, Scott. Thanks for having. I'm doing good, Scott. Thanks for having me, man. How are you?
You're better than that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're
I don't know.
You're as good as they get, man. And I'm so excited for you with the new Extreme Series. You've been the voice of so many non-wing races and midget races over the years with another series. But you've had this opportunity with the World of Outlaws. How'd that come about?
It's kind of funny when they announced their series. I thought, man, that looks like it's going to be a pretty solid deal. It's not a massive schedule. They're paying well. It's obviously with the Outlaws. They're doing non-wing sprint cars and midgets. And when they announced it, I thought, man, that's a pretty neat deal. But I really didn't know. With like the stuff that I do on TV for Lucas Oil Studios or any other things that I have, if it would conflict. So I really wasn't really thinking about it that much at the time. And then Brian Dunlap called me. Casey Schumann texted me a little bit after they made the announcement, and we kind of just started talking about it. And they were asking if I was available, and I kind of started then looking at the schedule and what it would conflict with different things that I have, and it really worked out that it's not going to conflict with much, if anything, if anything. So we kind of put a deal together, and I thought, man, it's really cool to get to work for the Outlaws and Dirt Vision. They do such a good job on the streaming side, and they're really stepping up their game this year. And it's kind of a new thing for me, though kind of new but the same, right? Because I've covered these cars and these drivers and both the midget and the sprints for a long time, so I know virtually everybody that's gonna run the series or people that may run the series. So for me, the transition as far as knowing who's racing is pretty simple. Their format's a little bit different, but I think it's going to be a really exciting year. I'm glad to be a part of it.
I think a lot of people were caught off guard when they announced that they were going to run a non-wing sprint car series. Me personally, I'm thinking, boy, they better be careful with this because, as popular as non-wing sprint car racing is right now, right? I mean, it's very popular. People might start really enjoying the non-wing stuff. I'm not going to say it, but I'll say it. They might enjoy it as much as they do the wing stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, you want them to enjoy both series equally, correct? I mean, the Outlaws. Right. I mean, the Outlaws historically are, the Outlaws. I mean, you just have to say the Outlaws are coming to town, and people show up because they know, as Johnny Gibson has said for many, many years, the greatest show on dirt, right? So, to be coupled with that, the World Racing Group, Brian Carter, all his folks, Casey Schumann, everything that he's put into it. He's obviously got a non-wing background. He's partial to the non-wing sprint car stuff and the midgets from all the years that he raced and continues to race at Chili Bowl and whatnot. I really think it's going to be a good deal. I mean, I can't expect it's going to take much away from the Outlaws, other than it may translate some of the Outlaw fans that may not watch a lot of non-wing stuff. Now that they have that content on Dirt Vision with the midgets, I think for those Outlaw fans that buy the Dirt Vision package to either watch the wing cars, or maybe they're late model fans, or they're Super Duke car fans or whatever, this is just kind of will maybe bring those fans over to transition to non-wing stuff. And we got a lot of positive feedback after the 2 days down at Volusia from people saying, "Man, I like this non-wing stuff." And I'm kind of like, "What do you mean?" Like it acted like they'd never seen it before.
Right.
And I just assume everybody watches everything in my mind. I assume who Shane Cottle is and who this guy is and who that is. But so it was neat to see kind of people that just maybe focus on a different style of racing. Now their eyes open up to see something new, and it was real positive. You and Kirk have always been really, really good to me and treated me well. And I remember talking to you at Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland one year, saying, "Hey, I heard you guys were going to go video at the Chili Bowl," and you're like, "Yeah, we're going to give it a shot." I said, "Well, I'm available if you want. Right. You need someone to work it." And he said, "Sure." So put a deal together, and that was great. I mean, I've always liked what you guys have done. I mean, even going back to when it was just audio and it was you and Kirk on the air, and just getting content out there and trying new things and kind of being on the cusp of the video streaming and all that. So it's always cool for the fans to be able to get more content, And in today's world with social media and all that stuff, everybody has their own ideas, but you guys have been kind of been there for a long time, and that's pretty rad.
That is Rob Klepper, who is the new announcer for the Extreme Outlaw Series and the midgets, and
he's a pro, man.
I think the Outlaws have hit on something here with these two new open wheel series here. It's going to be interesting to
Kirk,
see.
Do you think there's any
out.
chance that the non-wing World of Outlaw non-wing Extreme Series is going to be a fraction as popular as the wing sprint cars? Do you think it's going to be close?
I don't think it's going to be as close as the wing Outlaws, but I think it's going to be a nice addition to what the World Racing Group's got going over there.
Yeah.
And it's going to put a lot of pressure on USAC a little bit to up their game.
Yeah.
I believe that, because what's going to happen is, if this thing is as successful as you and I both think it's going to be, the money is only going to increase as the year goes on.
The World of Outlaw brand is what's going to make it popular, right?
Right.
And they're only running 10 to 15 races this year.
Right.
And the money, it pays $20,000 to win the championship.
Yeah.
$20,000 to win a 15-race championship.
So USAC has some real competition now.
Not only USAC, everybody. WAR, NWRA.
That's right.
USAC. Everybody's got the pressure on them now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And non-wing racing is about as popular as it's been in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Cars are a lot safer than they used to be, and it's really exciting racing.
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
I think that they've hit on something big here, and it's only going to get bigger.
Well, and they got the midgets, too.
That's right. So USAC's going to have to step up their game.
I think they're going to run in conjunction with the World of Outlaw wing cars 14 times this year.
And you talk about that adds to the value of the World of Outlaws shows whenever they run as a companion event. Adding these events to the program only adds not only value for the people in the grandstands, but also to the pay-per-view customer as well.
Well, and not only that, Kirk, you think about it, now they're going to have a platform where they can bring the drivers up through the midget ranks, through the non-wing ranks, and bring them right into the 410 wing sprint car race.
I think it's a big move, what the World Racing Group is doing here. Brian Carter.
Well, that's why he gets the big bucks, man.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But Klepper is as good as an announcer as you'll see. And he still does a lot of work over there at MAB TV. And,
for sure.
And for him to come over there and be the voice of the series, I think that's huge.
Right. Kirk, Dylan Westbrook the other night run with the All-Star Circuit of Champions and got a second-place finish.
How about that? How big was that?
That was huge.
To go in there and the All-Stars.
Only his sixth start, Kirk.
Yeah.
He'd only made 6 starts with the All-Star Circuit of Champions up to that point, and he ran second.
And Dylan Westbrook checked in on Mostly Motorsports this week and talked about that run earlier in the week at East Bay Raceway Park.
How you doing, Dylan?
Doing really good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, buddy. You got to feel pretty good about that run you had there. Running second to Corey Reisz. And was there a moment there where you felt like you had the speed to catch him?
Yeah, the bit there was more when we started getting into the lap traffic and starting to get a little heavy with the lap cars. And I feel like at first I started to make my way around him a little bit better than he was. But we got pretty close, and I thought maybe I might have had a chance there. But after a couple restarts, and he had a little bit of trouble getting around 2 lap cars, I think, and he made some really good moves, got by, and that's when I knew that he was kind of out in front of me a bit too far.
Yeah. The track conditions down there, man, from the first night that they ran down there, that it was terrible, right? But man, they really come back and made that place pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it was slick like the first night, but, I mean, it wore tires, but it didn't take rubber or anything, so it was all right. We made a couple adjustments, and they got the track a little bit better second night, so between that two things, we definitely learned a lot, and definitely made us go a bit better the second night.
Yeah. What is the plan for you, Dylan? I know that, you finished 4th in the Lucas Oil ASCS national standings last year. I think you're a championship contender over there running with 360s, but man, when you have that kind of run with the 410 and with the All-Star Circuit of Champions, does that ever make you think, man, maybe this is where I need to be?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to go 410 racing. Just, if I ever got the opportunity to go do that, I definitely want to go do that. Just another level up, and I keep on progressing. But yeah, for right now, that's my goal. To go out there and try to win the ASCS title.
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to be one of the favorites going into the 2022 season when it comes to Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. What have you learned as a traveling professional race car driver the last couple of years, Dylan?
Yeah, definitely it's a lot different than what I'm used to. Like before, just kind of like a weekend racer. Go to work Monday to Friday, get a little bit of time off, leave early Friday, and then be gone all weekend. So coming on the road, definitely a big change. Definitely being from Canada and with COVID and everything that was going on, spent a lot of time away from my family and stuff. So that sucked a lot. But like this race, my dad, he was finally able to come out just with the COVID restrictions changed a bit. Like this is his first time he's seen me race like in person, and what do you say? I think 23 months it's been. So
wow.
Definitely get a lot better now.
Tell us the process when you live out of the country and going back and forth. Did you have to spend a lot of your time in the States and not go home? How does that work for you when you have to deal with all the adversity that we've been through with COVID?
Yeah, like normally I can just go back and forth, no problem. If just drive back, yeah, it's like normally no problem at all. But with the COVID, when you went back to Canada, you would have had to quarantine for 14 days before. So if I ever wanted to go home, that 2 weeks, I would have missed some races. So I was kind of stuck out here. I had to stay. But yeah, now I just got to get a negative test and I can go back whenever. So,
how much do you lean on Sam when you go and run these 410 races? Is there some communication between you and him on what you need to do as a driver, as a team? What's those communications like with Sam?
Oh yeah, it's really good. Whenever I got a question, I can just call or text him. He's always there to help out, whether it's setup or driving stuff, just anything.
Yeah. Well, how many more 410 races are you going to run? You're probably gearing up for the King of 360 races. You're going to go over there to East Bay and run with them? Are you going to practice over there tonight?
Yep. Just changed the motor. I think all we got left to do is just change the gears, fire it up, make sure everything's good, and then, try to get the win here in the 360.
Yeah, that's a pretty prestigious race there, the King of the 360s, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of cars. This track here, too, it's a little bit weird. You got, compared to everywhere else you run, you got to do something completely different to the car just to make it work.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, man, we're going to be pulling for you anytime that you're out on the racetrack. You know, all the years that I traveled up and down the road, you were one of the nicest guys that I ever met with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour in the 13 years that I was out there. We'll be pulling for you. Go down there and kick some ass down there at East Bay this weekend, all right?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
There you have it. That is Dylan Westbrook. He is a good dude, man.
Yeah, his teammate Sam Haperteep Jr. Are you surprised that Sam didn't run those two All-Star races earlier this week? Seems to be in a 360 mode right now, but I thought he was going to be running more 410 races.
He was there.
Haperteep. Was he running the All-Stars?
Yeah.
He did? Okay.
No, well,
he wasn't there?
He was still burnt from that fire.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
That's it. That's it.
So that fire he was recovering
He was
from.
there, but he wasn't racing.
I got you. The reason why is because of that fire in Georgia.
How bad? Where did he get burnt? Austin, do you know?
It was on his legs. The track, I don't remember.
They showed his fire suit on Twitter. I saw that, but I couldn't really tell how bad it was singed.
It had some. I think we might have the file over here still.
All right. Well, we'll have you guys pull that up.
He was okay to drive in the 360 races beginning on Thursday. Is when those events started.
I keep forgetting that he got burnt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a good deal.
Otherwise, he would have ran those All-Star races just
for sure.
like Dylan did.
Mm-hmm. There it is.
Yeah.
So, is this where it's burnt right here?
Yeah, where the coloration is, that's normally a black suit, but where all the yellow beige is, that's the burn
So it got around his ankles pretty good, and it got up around his knee. It looks like a little bit. Is that kind of up there near his knee?
Boy, that could have been really
more of the backside of his leg because those flaps down there that goes over like your heel, like over your foot.
And he's got the underwear underneath that, right? Those the Nomex, or is it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
fireproof underwear.
I would assume
that he
does.
Yeah, they said that's what kind of really saved him from being burnt worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's the reason why Sam sat out of the car during those two All-Star races earlier this week, and Dylan was able to go up there and do pretty well. So is Sam Haperteeth going to run pretty much the same? Is his plan pretty much the same as last year? Try to run more 410 races and maybe sprinkle in 360s whenever he can? Is that the same plan that he's got in 2022?
Well, I don't know. It's funny that Tommy Hahn said here on Facebook on our message board here just a little bit ago, he said, let me get back to it. He asked, oh, hey, Rick from Savannah, Georgia. Ricky Millsap there. He said, let me find it. Is Sam coming back to ASCS in 2022?
That's what I'm wondering. I don't know.
Is the money too tempting to come back? the championship money.
With the schedule the way it is and, the changes that have gone on, that might lure Sam back into the fold. That's what I'm wondering.
Well,
good question. That's the same question I'm wondering. So, guess we'll see. But Dylan Westbrook is going to be a player on that Lucas Oil ASCS National Points battle this year. Try to go up against the defending champion Blake Hahn, and that's going to be quite a battle. Dylan Westbrook has really upped his game, no doubt about that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sitting here looking on Sam's page to try to find out what he's going to be doing, and all I see is past racing information, so it doesn't say anything about his future. As I'm looking,
maybe be like Wayne Johnson. We'll just kind of plan as we go.
Right. Well, that's not a bad idea.
I like
either.
that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Being a real outlaw is not a bad thing.
We'll just kind of take it a week at a time and see where it ends up.
Yeah.
If you don't have sponsors that dictate where you got to be,
yes,
and you can set your own schedule, isn't that the most fun?
Yeah, it is. Sam's website not updated,
so we'll find out.
Yeah,
I guess it's kind of like when we watch Kyle Larson race the last couple of years. You don't know where he's going to show up at.
Right.
So that's kind of cool.
Kirk, we talked with Steve Post earlier this week on Mostly Motorsports as well.
And the Postman is one of the pit reporters that will be on the MRN coverage of the Daytona 500 this weekend. But he also covers open wheel racing, sprint car racing, Wing Nation. He's the host of on MRN and also on MAV TV. And Scott Traylor spoke with the Postman about all sorts of different racing going on. Here is that conversation.
Have you had a chance to watch some good sprint car racing here lately, Steve?
Well, I was kind of in the same situation this past weekend. I've gone to Volusia forever.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. I've probably been there 12 or 15 straight years.
Yeah.
And then the way the NASCAR schedule, it's all shrunk down. We moved the Clash out to LA and everything else. And so I didn't come to Daytona until yesterday, till Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been watching, but I've been just watching on pay-per-view. And it's been weird. I feel like you talk about missing it, and I thought, and honestly, on one of the scenarios where it's like, well, I'll just come down a few days early, but I've got some trips later this year I want to do, and MRN and Wing Nation, we have a budget in place for travel that we try to keep in line, and I've been to Volusia the last 12, 15 years, as I said, and I'm looking at an Ohio weekend. I'm looking at a California weekend, and who knows where else I may go. I've got a couple other things I've thought about doing, and it's like I was sitting there last weekend, like you are now, wishing I would be there. But then I think in the long term it's probably good. So I haven't seen any sprint car racing, but I've been following along with it, and certainly interesting. The World of Outlaws over at Volusia, and then the All Stars finally getting going at East Bay, and I guess, and then the King of the 360s this coming week. I think we're off and running in good fashion with the sprint car world.
Yeah. Corey Lyson picked up that win last night. That was pretty big for him.
Yeah, I think so. I think with Tyler Courtney, of course, being the reigning champ, and there was a lot of speculation as to Tyler possibly jumping over to the World of Outlaw deal, and then when they didn't, and are staying there, I think it's important for guys like Corey Eliason and some of the other regulars on the All-Star Tour to if nothing else, lay a glove on Tyler Courtney. Let's not just and Sunshine comes right out and wins the first night at East Bay, and it's like, oh, here we go, another round of this. And so I think it is important. It's important for team morale, team energy, for Corey and that Rudine team to get a trip to Victory Lane, so that when the All-Stars, pick up in Ohio in April and start going for points and everything, they know they've got a win under their belt, and they have a full head of steam and some momentum going, and can feel like they're gonna make this a title battle all the way down the stretch. So I think it was important, very important for Scott. I just think it's and when we talked to we talked to David Gravel for Wing Nation, our TV show. Right. I just think when you're a race car driver and you've been out of the car for a couple of months, during the off season and few of these guys went to Australia. Some did the Chili Bowl. I just think getting back to your winning ways has got to be critical this time of year. And so kudos to Corey. He is already a winner here. We're 5 4-10 races into 2021 or 2022, and he's already got a checkered flag. So I agree with you. I think that is, I think probably of all the winners thus far, that probably is the most important one that he gets rolling quickly and can get some momentum on his side.
Right. Do you think that Tyler Courtney gets the respect that he deserves? You know, he spent so much time over there with the midgets, right? And stayed there. Maybe he stayed there a little bit too long, right? But the moment that he makes the transformation over to a wing sprint car, he wins a championship. Do you think Tyler Courtney gets the respect that he deserves?
I don't. The challenge with that question, Scott, my hunch is no, he doesn't.
Right.
And he won the King's Royal last year.
Right.
You know, my hunch is he doesn't. But then when you think he's been running a wing sprint car for all of 2 years, maybe he does. You know, I think the one thing with Sunshine, we're so used to seeing him in victory lane that it's just commonplace for the last 10 years. All we've seen is Sunshine in victory lane. And so there's part of me that thinks you're right, that he doesn't get the respect. And then it's like, well, wait a minute, he's a third-year driver. Yeah. Maybe that means he should get more respect for what he's done. And I find it. I'm going to find it fascinating when they make that transition to the World of Outlaws. What his performance looks like, stacking up against Schatz and Sweet and Gravel and Schuhart and Sheldon and those guys week after week, night after night. And I think, in complete honesty, I think that's why they felt like it wasn't time to go this year, because you know, that's a tall mountain to climb when you look at how good those top 5 teams are in the World of Outlaws. And so, you know, I don't know. The respect thing is an interesting question. My hunch initially is no, but then I think about it, maybe he does. I don't know. It's interesting. What do you think?
Well, I think he's earning the respect as we speak right now.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's doing. He wins the championship. He's always running up front. He's always in contention to win these races with the All-Stars. I think that, if anything, he's earning that respect now. He might not have had the respect when he came out of the midgets, but I think what he did last year and what he's already done so far this year, I think that respect is coming to him.
I think so, and I think just keep doing what you're doing, and he's gonna force respect. You know, I mean, because you just have to respect his talents. He's an incredible talent. He's just absolutely amazing how skilled he is.
No doubt. You know, there was a couple big stories last night, Steve, in that race. I think maybe, I don't know which one's bigger. Parker Price Miller coming back from doing his chemo and doing all those treatments and stuff. He started second. He ran fourth. It's still a good finish for him, even though he started up a little bit closer to the front, on the front row. But then you got to look at Dylan Westbrook last night. He's only got 6 4-10 races, 6 All-Star races under his belt, and he runs second last night to Corey Eliason. Which story is bigger, Parker Price Miller or Dylan Westbrook?
Ooh,
that's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a tough one. I think in this, and I have such huge respect for Dylan, and I know he's going to join you on Mostly Motorsports a little bit later on. Yep. I just think what they are doing, what he is doing, is so good. But when you look at the battle, the cancer battle right now that Parker Price, the PPM, is going through, I just think him climbing in the race car becomes a huge story. And he's in the middle of treatment. It's not like he's just cleared it. And this window, we had PPM on Wing Nation a couple of weeks ago, and this window for those 2 nights at East Bay fell right at the end of where he would be the strongest. Because I think later this week he goes in for another round of treatments, and then he's weak for a couple of weeks, and gets strong. And I forget the cycle of time on that. So to me, I love the Dylan Westbrook story, but to me the bigger one of the two is PPM racing that car and doing it. With he had a device in his neck that that shouldn't have had a problem. It would. But could have been really bad, but I just think it shows his. There's a lot of these young guys, Scott. We're old school. We know the grit of Steve Kinzer. the grit of Sammy Swindell and Doug Wolfgang. And I think we look at these young guys and, their hair is nice and they're clean cut, they present themselves well. And I think you sit back and you say, well, yeah, he's does he have the passion for it? And I think when you see something like this with PPM, I think the passion is certainly there for sure.
There you have it. Steve Post joining us on Mostly Motorsports. Again, you can listen to Mostly Motorsports Monday through Friday at 12 noon Central Time. It's right here from this very studio.
I was thinking of Parker Price Miller. Going out there in the middle of chemotherapy treatments, still driving a race car. It's just absolutely incredible to me.
The most incredible thing about that story, Kirk, to me is he's got a port here in his neck.
Yeah.
And for some reason, if he was to injure himself, and you can do that flipping these cars, right?
That's scary.
The belt, if it pulled on that port just wrong, he could bleed to death.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's just crazy.
Just think about that.
I was when I had my port in mine. I just can't imagine. I mean, I remember how.
But it wasn't in your neck, and you weren't driving a sprint car, right?
Mine was right here.
Right. Yeah.
And I just remember thinking how delicate you had to be,
just to be careful with it,
because it's a port that goes to your direct.
Drive a sprint car.
Yeah, it goes right to your direct. I mean,
But he has it up here by his neck.
So when he said that, when I went back and listened to that interview, that's
crazy.
It's crazy.
How bad you want it?
And I'm like you, Scott. I don't know if I could have let my kid. Probably not.
Well, I'm glad nothing
happened. There's no way I'd let my kid do that.
I had to put my foot down at that point.
If I was funding that deal, there's no way I would let my kid do that.
That's a scary. I understand.
We're happy nothing happened. And
Yeah.
Parker's
Austin,
okay.
would you drive with the port in your neck?
No.
No. There's no chance.
It's a strange, like you said, when you're involved. When they put that port in, you're out.
Well,
right?
Here's the thing: flipping a sprint car with a port in your neck,
anywhere.
And Austin, as you know, pull those belts pull on that neck area pretty hard sometimes. You've been upside down. You know about that.
Too many times. There's not one part of your
body.
How many
times you've been upside down?
10 in 3 years. Yeah, I flipped like 4 times last year.
Oh, God.
In like 4 months.
I'm glad I'm not paying a part bill for you.
I would really appreciate if you did. It would make my life a lot easier.
No.
All right, what's that like, Austin, when you're upside down and you just let go of the wheel, and what are you thinking of that?
You got to white knuckle that thing.
You got to hang on to that thing.
You got to drive out of it.
Right.
No.
You ever pull your hands off the wheel when you're flipping?
No,
and do the
mine are
tuck
fast,
and roll.
Mine are fast enough that I don't have time to react for it.
That's too bad.
Well,
I hate to hear that.
You've experienced what most other people in the world have not experienced. So I'm glad you're okay after all those.
Well, if you kind of want to see what it's like to flip a sprint car, you go to Flow Racing and watch the in-car video of Corey Eliason doing a wall ride at East Bay earlier this week.
This is what it's like driving a 410 is what they said in that, right?
It's yeah.
How bad do you want it, right, Austin?
Hey, let me tell you, we've got plenty of in-car cameras. There was a time when we did a lot of in-car camera stuff, didn't we, Kurt?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
And we've got some in-car camera stuff, don't we, Todd?
Yeah,
you've seen it.
Jeff driving around with the tackle box, not even a tackle box, suitcase of GoPros and accessories and parts, and it was
cool video.
It's cool. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of
Jeff
video.
didn't like dealing with it though.
It's hard video to work with. People don't realize that GoPro video is I don't know. It's not the most fun to edit. I'll just say that.
Right, because you got to time it out.
And it's
high resolution
such
video.
a high resolution video, and when you're editing it, it's just
takes time.
It sure does, man. It just to drop it in your editor and let it go for a while. You have to wait just to let it. But yeah, Jeff, kudos to him, because there's no way I'd have ran around and been able to strap all those cars up with those GoPros. That was a whole night's worth of work, strapping up and taking those GoPros on.
Well, the biggest problem with putting the GoPros on, because Jeff would have to go up and shoot the video at night, so he would depend on the crew members to start the cameras. And half the time they would forget to do it.
They're in the middle of...
Or they'd get out of sync and they'd turn it off when they thought it was on.
I did that more than one occasion. push that button. You don't know what you're doing unless you've done it enough times. You push that button twice and you think you're golden, and you come back and you get that video out and you realize you got about 2 seconds of you looking at the camera up close.
Right, and there's my face. Oh, and now it's dead.
That was it.
Jeff wasn't real thrilled about editing all that in-car video.
Jeff wasn't thrilled about doing any editing, to be honest with you.
Editing is a lot of work.
Let me tell you something. It's probably the reason Jeff left Racing Boys.
I'm sure it is. It's a tough job.
I don't want to have to put those packages together. It takes all day to do it.
Yeah, it's just stressful. I mean, I understand those video packages are just one little thing that you do wrong when you render something.
Yeah.
Can ruin 3 hours of your work, like
Yeah.
in just a heartbeat. It's so.
Jeff doesn't mind putting highlight packages
highlights
together
are fun.
because he can do that in 20 minutes.
Yeah, right.
We've done that before. We'll be
While you're
driving down
driving.
the road, and Jeff
Yeah.
will sit next to me, and he'll get it done in 20 minutes. He says, "Hey, man, can you not listen to some music for 20 minutes so I can get my
get this audio
my
done,
highlight
right?
package
But
done?"
but editing in that in-car video, that was a lot of work.
It's so much work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, the best thing that Jeff Christensen does is when he's up there shooting the races. That's where he's in his
He's as good as
comfort
they
zone,
get.
and he's as good as they get, no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, it's
Kirk. So
Parker Price Miller. I wish him well. I don't know how many more times he's wanting to get back in a race car, but
it's going to break him down eventually.
I just pray. We all pray for his recovery from this, and hopefully he gets through it in 100% shape and gets back to doing what he does the best.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up online tonight and what's on. First of all, everybody needs to know that if you can't make it home to watch your Daytona 500, you can listen to it on Sports Radio 810. It's going to start tomorrow at 1:30, right, Kurt?
Right. Green flag just after 1:30. I think we'll have some pre-race coverage as well. I think starting about 1 o'clock on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Right. And then today, Cup practice at 10 o'clock on Fox Sports 1.
Right.
Right?
And then the ARCA race at 12:30, and the Xfinity race at 4 o'clock this afternoon, all on FS1.
All right, and now let's go over some of our favorite broadcasts that we're going to be doing. Not us, not Racing Boys.
Watching.
We're
going to be watching.
Tonight, East Bay Raceway, King of the 360s, right?
Flow Racing has all the coverage from East Bay Raceway Park tonight.
Right, and then we have the World of Outlaw late models and the Big Block Dirt Modifieds racing at Volusia tonight. That's on Dirt Vision, right?
Yes.
And then we have New Smyrna, who is racing on Flow tonight.
Be the final night of the World Series of stock car racing on the pavement at New Smyrna. Flow Racing.
It's been pretty
All the
good over
coverage
there, by the way.
Yeah.
If you're a pavement guy.
Started out the week, William Byron won a big race over there earlier this week, and the other big winner of the week was Sammy Smith winning the season opener for the NASCAR East Series. I think that was on Wednesday night. But other than that, Matt Hirschman has been the guy that's been the dominant
What
driver.
else we got, Austin? You got anything else for us? What else we missing?
Bubba Raceway Park tonight.
Oh, yeah, USAC, Bubba Raceway Park. That's on Flow.
Non-wing USAC sprint car racing tonight. And we'll see how that
Let
goes.
me tell you something, though. I'm really enjoying the late models, man.
Yeah.
I have gotten really into the World of Outlaw late models and the Lucas Oil late model series. Fantastic racing. What else you got there, Austin? Anything else?
That's it. There's MAV TV is off for a couple more weeks until the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series.
Right. Gets
starts
back underway.
up. USMTS and Racing Dirts will start in a couple of weeks as well.
Your mic could come up just a tad.
I talk too quiet too.
You're a soft talker.
And that's it. That's all we got. Just Dirt Vision and Flow Racing.
You're just a laid back kind of guy.
I can be.
Right. I've seen you. What are you going to watch? What are you looking forward to the most, Kirk? To watch
that Xfinity race today. I want to see how that goes. Yeah.
Out of all the stuff that's on today, you want to watch the Xfinity race today?
Well, it's because they haven't been out there yet. So, but I'll watch it all. I'll have it all going.
Austin, what are you looking forward to the most today?
I'll watch a sprint car race. It's hard to steer me away from sprint cars.
It's me too. I'm the same way. I'm gonna look forward to watching the USAC non-wing sprint cars race at Bubba.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to watching the King of the 360s tonight at East Bay Raceway.
We'll have it all on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun to watch. So, do you think it's at Mark Smith or is it Aaron Reitzel that is the King of the 360s tonight? Be between those two guys, Austin? Do you think?
Mark Smith is hard to beat, man.
Yeah, Mark Smith's on a different level right now.
Yeah.
I
don't know whose car that is, that 43 car. That's not his car, but it's got to be a Mach 1 chassis.
It's a Mach 1. He said that in our interview last night, or his winning interview a couple nights ago. And I think it might be a Pennsylvania car.
Oh, it is?
I think so.
Not a local car?
I think it's a Pennsylvania car.
Wow. Now, he ran that car with USCS, didn't he?
And he won, I believe it was Needmore Speedways where he won at. Or
Needmore.
Yeah.
He was as good as anybody's ever been at East Bay, getting around that racetrack.
He's good anywhere he goes.
No, he's good.
I mean, he came to Lucas Oil and about swept all 3 nights.
Right, he did. Yeah,
first time being there too.
Yeah, and never seen the track. Right, he's a pretty good race car driver.
As far as the non-wing sprint cars tonight, does Buddy Kofoid finally get it done tonight, or does Justin Grant, who seemed to be the dominant player last night?
To me, Justin Grant is the fastest car right now. Did you see how he pulled away on those restarts last night?
They got something figured out between the midget and the sprint car.
He won back-to-back with the midgets at Bubba, right? And then he won last night with the non-wing car.
Yep.
He's got to be the favorite to win tonight.
I would say him. I think, did Thomas Meserol run top 3 last night?
He had a bad night last night. He didn't even finish the race.
He didn't
last
finish.
Night.
Maybe
So
it was the night before.
Yeah,
but it's going to be hard to beat, Justin Grant right now.
Yeah, for sure.
T-Mez ended up great down at Volusia, winning the second night of the Gators down there. But last night, not so good. He did finish in the top 3 the night before, yes.
What about the late models? Who do you think is going to win there, Kirk, at Volusia tonight? Gosh, man, there's so many drivers that have won.
Devin Moran had a bad night last night, 10th.
Yeah, not a good night for him.
But, I'm thinking that...
But, Kirk, he started 20th.
He did start 20th.
Right.
I'm thinking Devin Moran will get a lot better starting spot tonight, and he's going to...
Did Moran come out of the B last night?
Let me check that.
That is a good question.
Let me see. I'm looking. I don't see him. Oh, that's
Last Chance Showdown. He won. He won that race.
Yep.
Yes, the B main.
He did. So Last Chance Showdown number 2, Kurt.
So he had to come out of the second Last Chance Showdown.
How about that? Brian Shirley come out of that race too.
Michael Norris and Nick Hoffman came out of the first one.
That's a pretty tough field when you got to come out of the B and you're Devin Moran and Brian Shirley, right?
Yeah.
Think about that just for a second.
But he still ends up in 10th place in the main event.
Donnie Schatz raced last night. He come out of the Last Chance race. He ran 3rd. They only take 2, right? So he didn't make the show last night. Schatz. Right. Josh Richards and Tim McCready did not make the show last night.
Wow.
Ryan Gustin, who won earlier,
they probably had
down there, he
though.
had trouble last night.
Yeah.
Has Donnie ever won a Fender race?
Yes, he has won. Yeah.
I thought Chase Youngans really
shows a lot of
strong
speed
last night.
Yeah.
I mean, he was coming there towards the end of the race and looked like there for a minute he might have had a shot at Dennis Erb Jr.
It did. Yeah.
Herb was able to hang on.
Track was a lot better last night.
Much better. On Thursday night, it seemed like every track was rubber down a little bit.
Yeah.
The Bubba Raceway Park was the worst of the rubber down racetracks.
It was.
But last night, completely different story at all 3 of these racetracks. Of course, it rained up at Bubba, so that had an impact up there. But tracks were a lot better last night than they were on Thursday night.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, don't forget, folks, if you can't watch it on TV, don't forget to listen to Sports Radio 810 WHB tomorrow at 1:30. You can watch the Daytona listen to the Daytona 500. Today, again, Cup practice at 10 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. A lot of great streaming action going on tonight on Flow and Dirt Vision.
IMCA TV also has a 3,000 to win stock car show at Abilene, Texas.
Abilene.
Yeah.
$3,000 to win IMCA stock cars. What do you think about that?
Wow.
A lot of money for them guys.
That's a lot of money for the sheet metal.
They can buy a lot of sheet metal for that race.
You probably should have held on to your stock car.
No, I don't. We're not going there.
That give you bad habits?
I don't want anything to do with that car.
What's the pay to start?
Who drives that car now?
Ed Griggs, I think, drives it.
What
now.
number is it out there?
31.
Is it at Lakeside?
Yeah.
Yeah. 31?
Mm-hmm. Brad Smith drove it, too.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Did he win in it?
I think they both did.
They did, yeah. That was a pretty good car. Newsflash, your dad knows how to build a pretty good car.
Yeah, he can.
Has little Ed Knowles' kid raced his car yet?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Hey, on these big money shows, we always talk about how much it pays to win.
Right.
Isn't it also important to know how much it pays to start a lot of those races?
Not if you're a winner.
But only
I don't go to races for start money.
That's right. I'm not looking at the back. I'm looking at the front.
I'm eyeing that I-70 Speedway, like 7,000 win show in June. I don't care what it pays to start. I'm gonna go win it. So
right. That's a national race, right? With the Warrior region.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking forward to getting out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of your dad kind of cut his teeth out there.
Well, see,
it's not the same place though.
Do you care how much it pays for second, third, fourth, fifth?
No.
No, I go there to win. I don't.
Right, Kirk.
If I run
so
second,
really, the money's not all that important, right?
Kirk, if you go to a race thinking about what it pays to run third, fourth, or fifth, you're a loser.
Well, when I'm thinking about how big of a
am I right, Austin?
Well,
right.
I didn't. If I didn't win, I didn't do a good enough job, so I don't deserve the money that I'm gonna. Well, not that I potentially could have got. You know.
But isn't the mentality? If you go in there thinking if I can run in the top 5, you're already a loser.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're kind of like Kyle Busch. You're not happy if you don't win.
Win it or wear it.
Pretty much.
You know, we used to have a show named that. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Tony Bachhoven and Brian Brown did the show together.
Oh, boy.
And Tony Bachhoven used to fly into the show every week. He had a buddy, had an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
They'd fly in, drive over to the studio. Brian Brown and Tony Bachhoven would do the show together. It was called Win It or Wear It.
Win it or wear it.
You remember it?
Yeah, I do remember that show. I forgot what year that would have been. We're talking back in 2007, 8, 9, somewhere in there.
Right.
That's quite a while ago.
Yeah. You know, I got a text from somebody a little bit earlier. I didn't see who it was from. Oh, it was Darren Bennett. Darn it, I just saw that. I should have called him and asked him if he needed something.
The new general manager at Lakeside Speedway.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not that far away from races kicking up here.
I'm ready to
middle
get
of
going,
March.
man.
They're going to be at Humboldt Speedway for all the events going on down there. Got the King of America happening, I think, a little bit earlier than normal this year, so hopefully the weather will start to cooperate, and we're just about there here in the local area.
I just got a confirmation from Erin Corbin. She's wanting to do our show. She's going to be playing live at Knuckleheads. She's in Iowa this week, and she's a
when is she playing?
I think it's closer to March. I'm going to have to pull up the Knuckleheads.
Yeah, we need to get a little closer to her date when we have her on.
Man, she's a smoking little guitar player.
Right, I watched that video.
She played.
Did you see that video I sent you last night?
I watched a tiny bit of it.
Who is that playing that guitar?
I'd have to look at it. I was watching on my phone.
Let me tell you, he can play anything.
Yeah. I'd have to look at it on the computer, not my phone.
I thought that was very interesting on how you don't see the guitar player's face, and he plays every kind of technique that all these guitar players, and they put their name up there and say, this is his technique. And he just rips through everybody that's anybody, right?
They're just, those guys are, like I said, we're getting to the point now where guys like me are, just playing for the fun, because there's too many excelled people out there nowadays, man.
The problem is, Todd, is these guys are like math guys.
They are.
Yeah.
And then even the ones that aren't have been playing for so long. These kids, I mean, I posted that video of you. Did you see that video of that 3-year-old little kid playing those drums? I sent you that. I mean,
it's unbelievable. And that little Asian girl that plays the drums, she's remarkable.
There's a kid that's 2, a little kid, and his dad. And this kid, he's in diapers. He don't even speak all the words, and he's keeping an actual drum beat and doing fills. I'm like, how
do you do that?
Where do these kids come from?
This is natural God-given
That's right.
talent.
That's what I'm saying.
Is it not?
And this is what, in the old days before the internet, these people were out there, right? And they had to catch that break, right? Whereas now I don't know if you noticed it, but TikTok is like blown up with people that are getting signed deal. To get signed as an artist nowadays is kind of nuts, but it's actually starting to come back.
Yeah.
Some of these artists, they're starting to get 2 million views on their TikTok thing, and I don't know if you've seen some of these videos where the actual record company calls these guys up and saying, "Hey man, we watched your video on TikTok.
And we'd like you to play with
somebody. We want you to come down here and talk to us about maybe making a deal." And so it is different. But this little gal that we got coming on, like I said, she's at Knuckleheads, and man, 3-piece band, just tearing it up. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be fun to watch some of these people that are coming through here.
Yeah, you're going down to that, Todd?
Well, I'm gonna try to work my way in with her.
We're gonna try to get us some credentials.
Yeah, we're gonna try to maybe even I'm gonna talk to her today after the show. Maybe if she's in town, we maybe try to bring her by here and do the show in person.
That would be cool.
And then score some tickets from her from after that.
Yeah,
that way
for sure. Hey, Kirk Kelly wanted to remind us that the IMCA Spring Nationals in Beatrice is March 11th and 12th.
Okay. That's a traditional event. That's always that time of the year.
Lloyd and I went up there a long time ago. Remember that, Kurt, when we went up there?
I remember that.
Yeah. I think we took an RV up. I think we took the Bounder up there. Remember the Bounder? That was a long time ago.
You showed me. I don't think I was here.
I don't think you were here.
You showed me pictures of that.
Yeah, it was my first motorhome, the Bounder.
That's right.
Kirk and I drove that Bounder all the way to Eldora one year, didn't we?
To the King's Royal, 2007.
And it rained on us the whole weekend. Luckily, we had the RV.
But they got it in on a Sunday afternoon. It was one of the best Sunday day shows that I think I've ever seen.
Blue dust like no other.
Jimmy Owens the winner.
Jimmy Owens won his first World 100.
He did.
Yeah.
That Spring Nationals up at Beatrice has been going on forever.
Yep.
And I was going to give you the dates for Humboldt. The Battle of the Bull Ring is March 10th, 11th, and 12th. And the King of America is March 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Got some new owners down there at Humboldt.
Johnny Allen.
Yeah, how about that?
And Ryan Whitworth's still around, so he's going to do a lot of the prep work, the track prep, and all of that. So I don't think you'll see any changes in anything that's gone on in the past. But those are the first big events here in our immediate area,
right,
where we're located. So that's not far away. You look at it. And 2 weeks from tonight is the Carb Hall of Fame induction ceremonies.
You're going to
out
MC
at Blue
that,
Springs, and we'll all be out there for that event.
We'll be live on Racing Boys.
We'll stream it live on the Racing Boys and the Facebook Live and YouTube and whatever. So we'll have that going on. I think that starts about 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, March 5th. So 2 weeks from today, we got that big event going on.
Yep, that'll be good. All right, thanks everybody for tuning into the show. I want to thank all of our guests that we had on this week that we played here today: Steve Post, David Gravel, Pat Sullivan, Rob Klepper, Dylan Westbrook, Wesley Smith, and Lee Spencer for joining us today. Don't forget, Monday through Friday, Mostly Motorsports, starts at 12 noon Central Time. You can watch it right here on Facebook. You can watch it on Twitter. You can watch it on YouTube, racingboys.com. And then we pull it down. When the show is over, you're not going to be able to watch it on those platforms because we pull it down as soon as the show's over. You'll have to go to wherever you find your favorite podcast to watch the replays of it. Right, Kurt?
Yep. That's it.
Yep.
So it's all up there, and you can link it on raceboys.com and all the podcasts that's been done so far. Unfortunately, we didn't get that one in on Thursday because of the bad snowstorm.
Mother Nature wasn't going to allow you guys to get here.
But everything back on schedule this week.
Calling for snow again. Now, come on,
again?
Man. Next week.
No way.
Thursday, another round.
As soon as the snow's melted, because it's supposed to be like
it'll be nice tomorrow.
50, 60 on Monday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
And Tuesday.
Then Wednesday, cool. Thursday.
And then the snow's coming back.
Another
rain,
snowstorm.
Another snow. And that's,
I don't believe him until I see it.
Well, nobody believed this one, and this one knocked us for a loop.
Yeah, but how often are they correct?
Well, they're not correct all the time, but boy, it only takes just a shift of the weather, just a hair for you to be off and on. You know, what's funny, St. Joe got nothing. Like nothing. For a majority of the
snow.
And then just come down the road and just crushed.
This is the first time I can remember in at least 10, 12 years that it snowed so much you couldn't get around.
Yeah, like I told Scott, I got home. Only place I got stuck was in front of my driveway because of the snow drift. It was so
crazy?
Deep. I made it all the way to KU and back and didn't get stuck until I got to my own driveway. So.
And I got in the hot tub last night.
Felt pretty good, doesn't it?
It feels good, but it's cold until you get in there.
It is.
Yeah.
My neighbors my best friend growing up, his neighbor and they were friends of ours too. He had a outdoor pool. In the first 3 years they put this thing in, this would be 1987.
A heated pool?
Heated.
Yeah.
87, 88, and 89. We used to sneak over there at night and pop that thing open and go in swimming. And then I think about 3 years into it, they realized how much it was actually going to cost to heat that thing all year, and they stopped doing it.
They started draining it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But boy, I tell you what, we'd walk over there from his house in the winter and jump in that pool, and it'd take you a little while to warm up from that cold weather. Like you said, it is still chilly.
My tub's sitting
on your back deck.
I turn it down when I'm not in it to 99 degrees.
Oh, that's not bad then.
And then when I know that I'm going to get in it that night, I turn it up to 104.
Get that bad boy rolling.
Oh man, it feels so good. It's great.
Seen that episode of Seinfeld, Kramer, when he has one in his house and he's got his own hot tub in his apartment. And he's got it rolling, and it killed the power, and he fell asleep in it, and he woke up, and it was 40 degrees, and he was all hypothermia. So, hot tub. I love the hot tub.
I'm sure Jeff Christensen would remember that episode.
Oh yeah, Jeff's a big sidewalk guy.
Yeah, for sure.
All
right. Thanks everybody for tuning in to the show. Again, I want to thank Austin and Todd for their hard work here today, and also want to thank Blake back at Sports Radio 810 WHB, my partner Kirk Elliott. We'll see you on Monday, 12 noon Central Time, mostly motorsports. I'm not sure who's going to be the guest on Monday, but we'll have somebody good, that's for sure. Again, for everybody here at Racing Boys, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you Monday at Mostly Motorsports. We'll see you then.